How's it going, guys, and welcome back to BL3's Forgotten, the series where I take a look at underused and not often talked about pieces of gear to determine whether or not they deserve to be remembered within the modern meta of the game or should be left behind and forgotten. And today we are taking a look at the Bubble Blaster. If you'd like to get the Bubble Blaster for yourself, you're going to want to fast travel over to Ashfall Peaks over on Gehenna, specifically taking the Caldera Stronghold fast travel station. From there, you're going to want to exit the bathhouse and make your way forward until you find these corpses in this little sewage area. From there, you can pick up the quest Dirty Deeds, which after giving Soapy Steve the bath of his lifetime, you will be rewarded with the Bubble Blaster. The Bubble Blaster is a purple-rarity Maliwan pistol with completely locked parts and therefore is unable to roll with an anointment, while also being locked to radiation damage. This gun requires a brief charge-up time before firing in a 3-round burst and shooting bubbles, which will slowly rise in an upward trajectory. These bubbles will explode after 2 seconds or on impact and deal splash damage. Now, this is a very goofy and gimmicky and just obviously for fun weapon, which is why it's pretty surprising the amount of damage that this deals. I was especially surprised to see that this thing was dealing pretty decent damage even on True Guardian Takedown, especially for both not having an anointment and being radiation locked. There's a fuck ton of guns that I've covered in this series that can't even deal like a quarter of this damage with an anointment, but outside of damage is where things start to fall apart, because while the damage is pretty damn good and pretty functional across all the content in the game, it's solid, but it's inconsistent. You need to be able to actually land this damage, so against things like necrobugs or loader bots, it's actually pretty easy to do that with, but against guardians or basic human enemies, it's very difficult, because not only does it just have a very awkward firing pattern with that slight rise to the bubbles, you also have to charge this gun between each and every burst, which can feel really fucking awkward and just be really clunky to use. Especially with just how much a lot of the enemies in this game move around, those two aspects just compound on each other and make it very difficult to actually hit those bubbles. So normally, the fix for this would just be that you want to use it at a closer range, but unfortunately, this thing deals splash damage and in a decently sized radius to where any sort of range where this would be effective and consistent is going to down you. Side note to that, the bubbles do move slowly and you can move faster than them with some move speed boost, so if you fire this while sprinting forward, you can sometimes just down yourself with it. Now, as I often do with unanointable weapons, I do anoint them and give them a go, and obviously this was just stronger. I mean, it was already pretty good as is on its own. With an anointment, no shit, it's just gonna get better. But again, the damage isn't really the problem with this weapon. And honestly though, I'm not sure I'd say there is much of a problem with this weapon. As I said earlier, it's just a fun and goofy ass weapon, and as a quest reward, that's kind of all it needs to be. A gun like this doesn't need to be strong and effective and completely viable in the endgame, it just needs to be strong enough to pick up and have a good time with for a few minutes. And yeah, it's more than strong enough to have a good time playing around with this. I mean, come on, even if it was stronger and more consistent, is this a gimmick that you'd ever really want to use extensively? Because at least to me, I'd get pretty sick of it real quick. I was already getting a little bored of it while recording for this video. But in short, the Bubble Blaster is just a very goofy gun with a very goofy gimmick. It's incredibly ineffective, inefficient, but does deal decently good damage, and it is more than enough damage to be able to pick up this gun and just have a good time with it for a few minutes. Does that mean it's bad? I mean, I guess sort of it does, but I don't personally think so. I think the Bubble Blaster achieves exactly what it sets out to achieve, which is just being a fun weapon. But that's gonna about do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all that. I'll be live right after this video goes up, right here on YouTube, but also over on my Twitch channel, where there will be a link to down in the description below, and just under that is a link to my Discord server where you can come and join and hang out. But with that all being said, I hope to see you guys in the next one.